Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching Tomorrow's America. As always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Uh, Basically, the headline for today's live broadcast is Left-Wing Terrorism Worldwide, which will be the main subject of what I'm going to talk about. First thing I wanted to talk about, though, is that Robert F. Kennedy, the HHS secretary, has lowered the childhood vaccine schedule from 72 mandatory vaccines down to 11. And the reason I say mandatory is because the guidance that schools use for your child to be able to access public schools used to be based on a 72 vaccine recommended schedule, that they would use that and restrict your children from being able to go to school unless they had all 72 shots. Now it's down to 11 vaccines, which you still have the choice to take them if you want to or not. But as far as making America healthy again, I think that this is a really big deal. So I am happy that this happened. I'd like to see the research come out for a lot of the vaccines and their correlation to autism. The toxicity of the heavy metals that were in them, many things. So basically, that's a good thing that I just wanted to basically say, get out of the way. And then I'm going to get into the main topic here, which is left-wing terrorism worldwide. So in our own New York City, Zohran Mamdani is a self-proclaimed communist. Mamdani appointed a property chief who wants to end private property. So you've worked hard all your life, you buy a house in New York City, which is very expensive, and the taxes are very expensive. And basically, now the government wants to take away your private property and give it to the collective good. Remember that word, collectivization, because this is a communist belief that everything should go into the collective greater good. Everything belongs to everybody. You give your government all the money that you work for, and then they'll sprinkle a little bit of it back to you in the form of rations and universal basic income and basically any control mechanism they can use, they will use. And Zohran Mamdani being a communist, I said it before, communism, a lot of people like to say communism only doesn't work because no one's ever done it right. Communism is designed to fail. So the way that communism takes a hold in society is that they collapse things, and then you need to turn to the government for help, and they will give you a little bit back of what you gave to them when they were collapsing things. And communism is designed to fail. Okay, so Zohran Mamdani wants to take away private property and punish tenants, and promise things to, or punish landlords and promise things to tenants, which is the exact polar opposite of what Trump is doing. Trump wants to ban investors like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard from being able to purchase private homes. What they do is they buy up all these houses, they rig the housing market, and then they can create an artificial scarcity and charge a ton of money to renters who have no other option because now houses are too expensive. And it's just a system that's created really basically a world where, for people my age and younger, home ownership is almost like an impossible thing in our minds. Okay, and Zohran Mamdani wants to make it completely impossible because he says that private property is white supremacy, even though They refer to them as POCs, people of color, own houses, businesses, properties all over New York City. They call it white supremacy, and they want to take it away from you. And that's your birthright as an American citizen, to be able to own property, have freedom to do what you want, and they want to take that away from you. Um, so, on the topic of collectivization, this is terrorism to me, because how terrible would it be for someone to come and steal your property, all because they have a communist ideal system or a communist belief system in their mind. Now they just write on a piece of paper that they own your house, and they own it. That is terroristic behavior. Um, Collectivization, though, okay, maybe that's a stretch, but in Venezuela, collectivization is not. It's not a stretch of the imagination to think that that results in terrorism. There's a group of motorcycle gang called the Colectivos, and obviously their name reflects their beliefs in communism and all of what goes along with that. Okay, so the Colectivos motorcycle gang is running around terrorizing Venezuelans who are not loyal to the Maduro regime. Maduro has pled not guilty to the crimes, but it's obvious that he committed them, with the cartels, the drugs, the election theft that took place. These are crimes against the United States, and I do believe that he will be found guilty of them. The election fraud, companies like Dominion, let's see, I'm drawing a blank right now. Dominion voting systems, and I forget the other one, but these now the 2020 election, it has come out that it was rigged. It's a fact at this point. You know, basically, they did it the old-fashioned way. They stuffed the ballots into the box, fake ballots, and they won the election. Okay, we saw it all over the United States with left-wingers taking the same stack of ballots they just ran through, every single one for Joe Biden. It looked like a computer, filled in the dot that said Joe Biden. And they actually, some of them didn't even vote for any other candidates. They were just blank papers that were supposedly mailed in but never folded. And they just had a computer, a perfect dot on the bubble for Joe Biden, and they got run through the machine, and then they got taken out of being run through the machine and put back in and rerun 3 times over and over again. We saw it all over the United States. It was obvious then. It's even more obvious now. We're vindicated. Election fraud did happen. And part of the election fraud, maybe a small part, was with the voting systems that came out of Venezuela that were able to be connected to the internet. They had a back door where they could be connected to the internet, which, according to the law, they're not supposed to have internet connectivity, which I don't know what the repercussions of that are, but to me, that's just fraud, and they should be held responsible. Okay, so Delcy Rodriguez, the acting president of Venezuela, has issued statements pleading with Trump for a peaceful resolution to the problem. So last week, me and Rich kind of went on a rant. We were very excited about what was going on, because basically, historically, what has happened is that with NATO and the petrodollar and all these things, we tried to create a unipolar world, meaning the United States and its allies were the one power force that controlled all spheres of influence. That has fallen apart. China's crept into our hemisphere. It's been an ongoing problem. So to see us start to revert to a tripolar world where Russia, China, and the United States kind of, have power over their spheres of influence is pretty exciting because I don't want China being on our back doorstep in Venezuela. And to me, it just seems like a very good thing. So um, basically, Alex Jones compared this to the Hobbit movie, Battle of the Five Armies. Smog, the dragon in the movie, was sitting on a gold hoard under a mountain, okay, in a cave. And the whole world finds out that Smog has been killed. So all of a sudden, elves, men, dwarves, orcs, all these groups swoop in because they all want to take control of the gold in the mountain. There's about to be a five-way war that's going to take place for the gold in the mountain. Basically, what's happening is we're becoming a tripolar world, and with that creates power vacuums all over the place. And all these countries are going to try and swoop in and take control of the Panama Canal, the Strait of Hormuz, the Red Sea, all these things. It was very exciting to see that the United States was standing up for themselves in our hemisphere on our back porch. Okay, I was very excited. Looking back on my commentary, I stand with what I said, but I want to make it clear to people that I did include a caveat that there has to be stability and we have to do things the right way. And I don't want boots on the ground and American soldiers being in this conflict more than we have to. Okay, the Delta Force did a great job. And, with Delcy Rodriguez coming out and issuing this statement asking for a peaceful resolution, it seems like it might be a clean thing that we just did. It might be, in and out and a good thing. So, very happy to hear that. So, basically, a quote that I want to kind of attribute to what I think Trump's doing and what I think he's doing is it's called 1776 worldwide. 1776. Freedom, prosperity for all people. Okay, so people being able to use the resources, not being colonized, being able to use the resources in their country to trade and create prosperity for themselves. Now, that's not one country, that's all countries. So the quote is, a rising tide raises all ships. When the water goes up, it doesn't selectively go up and raise one ship and the other one sinks. All the ships are buoyant. If the water's low, none of the ships, they might hit the ground. But when the tide rises, all ships rise. So if we create prosperity for Venezuela, the United States, different countries all over the world, they'll be able to trade. We'll be able to do business. The world will be back in business. All ships will rise with the rising tide. Okay. So in Germany, left-wing terrorists knock out the power of all of Berlin, and they celebrate this. Okay. I don't know what this helps. Basically, like I said, in America, if we want to get things done, we change laws. We don't do terrorism. And Berlin is experiencing a record-setting cold winter. And to knock out the power for all these people is devastating, okay? This is part of our worldwide terrorism that's been going on. And because of all this, basically, persecution of Christians, communism, terrorism, all these things, it's created instability, okay? The U.S. ramps up visa restrictions on Angola, Cuba, the Dominican, Nigeria, and Tanzania, and a bunch of other countries. This is a good thing. Trump ran on closing the borders. Trump ran on security, safety for the people of the United States, and that's what he's delivering with these visa restrictions. I do think that it's a very good thing, what's going on, considering how polarized the world is right now. So basically, continuing on our left-wing terrorism topic here, the Minnesota shooting that took place was left-wing terrorism. Okay, the woman who was shot, and I pray for her family. I pray for anyone involved. I pray for the police officer who was hit by a vehicle, and the state of Minnesota, and just the United States in general. All need prayers because the left is trying to spin this into another George Floyd type of situation. But, I mean, George Floyd, there was complexities. I won't get into it. This is like kind of you could watch the video and think one thing, or you could watch a different angle and think another thing. And I'm gonna play the DHS secretary's explanation of it. That is the true perspective of what happened. But right now, let's just play the video for you guys so that you could see for yourself basically what happened. I'm sure everyone saw it. It's really hard to find clips that don't have commentary and things like that. This was probably one of the better ones I could find. But in the angle of the clip, you can't really see it. So I'm going to explain it. The police go up to this lady's vehicle and they try and pull her out of the vehicle. She decides to take off. And when she takes off, she hits a police officer, a federal law enforcement agent that is in his official capacity carrying out his lawful duty. She hits him with her car, and it's not the first time that it happened. It's actually the third time that it happened that day, a ramming of ICE enforcement agents. So, third time that it happened that day in Minnesota. In Minnesota, 3 car rammings in one day. One of them did end up in a deadly scenario. But this is nothing new to Minnesota. This is nothing new to anti-ICE protests. And this is nothing new to the cop who was hit by the car. Over the summer, he was hit by a different vehicle. People doing the same thing, obstructing, rioting, protesting, throwing things at ICE vehicles. He was struck by a different person, and he was actually drugged down the road by the vehicle. Okay. Now, he is hit with a deadly weapon. A car is a deadly weapon. So he's hit with a car, and he trades deadly force for deadly force. And unfortunately, it resulted in the woman being killed. But, it's a very unfortunate situation. And for anyone who doesn't want to hear it, there is swear words in this. I couldn't find a bleeped video. There's also swear words in another video later. And there's a shooting in the video. It's not graphic. You can't see any gore or anything like that. But I'm going to go ahead and play the clip now. And you can decide for yourself what you think. Okay? I do apologize. This is my first time trying to play videos live. So here it is.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my... Go ahead, Paul. And there it goes. We're just going to play the very initial.
So she obviously was shot, and she crashes into that other car because I assume by that point she was deceased. And so she does crash into that other car, but she hit the ICE officer. He returns fire, returns force, and very sad what happened there. Okay, so next I'm going to play a clip of the DHS secretary explaining what she and what DHS's official stance is on what happened. And I think that this is the understanding that people should take away. Okay, after this, I'm going to play Jacob Fry, and I'll get into all that. But his reaction to this is only going to incite more violence and more chaos and more destruction. At the same time, he's saying that he doesn't want chaos. He's saying go out and protest now, and you got to get in their face and whatever. You'll see it. But he's acting like a tough guy. But so this is what a reasonable person would take away from this scenario, in my opinion.
It was our ICE officer. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well.
Okay, so that is DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and her take on the Minnesota incident that took place. Now, this next clip here is Jacob Fry. I want to give you a little background. This guy is, this guy is basically cucking himself to the Somali community all the time. He's up there dancing on stage with Somalians who basically in his state have committed massive fraud and given kickbacks to the Democrat Party, which probably went to his campaign if I had to guess. The Somali fraud in the state of Minnesota was audited, and they went back after the audit and put false documents in trying to cover it up. So the government's involved, Tim Walz is involved, the Somali community is involved, and I would assume Jacob Fry here is involved. This is a guy who panders to people who, a lot of Somalians were born in Somalia as far as the state of Minnesota goes, but some of them weren't, and basically a lot of them are sending money over from the fraud to Al-Shabaab, a terrorist organization. So he panders to foreign people who send money back over to their old country and aren't loyal to America. But when it comes to federal law enforcement doing their legal constitutional duty that they swore an oath to the Constitution, went through all the process, followed the law, when it comes to American citizens who don't want to be robbed by Somalians, who Somalia is well known for one thing: piracy. When it comes to Americans, this is how he behaves. Okay, I'm gonna play a clip, and this guy thinks he's cool and thinks he's a tough guy here after he just acted like a little wimp, basically bending over for Somalians. This is how he acts when it comes to something that we voted for in this country. Donald Trump won the popular vote and the Electoral College. He won the election because of things like fraud, waste, abuse, illegal immigrants, law enforcement, and basically this is how this guy acts when, the American people get the accountability that we've been asking for.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you.
So he says that's on you, right? That is not on ICE. That is not on ICE. That is on the left-wing terrorists who think it's okay to obstruct federal law enforcement. Imagine if you went to the FBI and tried to run over an FBI agent or an ATF agent or, a member of the military, which is slightly different, but federal law enforcement officers. You stalk them, harass them, obstruct them, block them with your vehicles, hit them with your vehicles, and all that they're trying to do is arrest illegal immigrants, which is their job, which is legal, which is something that they're allowed to do. You cause a huge problem because of people like Jacob Frey, who encourage people to go out and commit this kind of domestic terrorism. And then when it happens, they want their George Floyd moment. When it happens, then all of a sudden they play the victim. Oh my God, you caused chaos. No, stay out of their way. That's what's causing chaos is, let's just say a guy robs Walmart, okay? Are you going to run over at what, the guy's running out of Walmart with a TV or a microwave or something? Are you going to run over and hit the cop who's chasing the guy because you want that person to be able to steal TVs? So it's just okay to just run and go hit the cop with your car. That's what happened here. Essentially, a smaller version of what happened here. And people like this guy encourage you to go out and obstruct the police. And then when you use deadly force on the police, then they tell the police agency that you're not wanted here and the police caused the problem. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's completely absurd. That is left-wing terrorism in the United States and across the world. A few things before I close out here. I want to say Christ is King. I thank God for everything we have. I thank God for this YouTube channel. I thank God for you, the people watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment to this video, and tell me how you think, what I can improve or a difference in opinion. Basically, my first time going live where I have clips up. If anyone has recommendations or things I could have did differently, that'd be great. But God bless America. God bless this country. God bless the world. And God bless freedom for people as individuals. And that's pretty much all I have. So thank you for watching Tomorrow's America.